Hey, Mike, we got Mike Seidel. He's live in St. Louis. Mike, so you're a little farther east of where Kendall is. And you guys are going to be both dealing with the same type of thing, where it's a lot of snow with some ice mixing in at times. How long has it been since we've had a pretty decent snowstorm in St. Louis? I know Mike is quite the weather historian there. I'll throw that to you.
Nothing like a good juicy weather stat. The last time they had over 6 inches, 6.7, was about 3 years ago. So we could get that much. Right now we're thinking in St. Louis 5 to 8 inches again. As you go farther south of Interstate 70, you end up with more sleet. And farther south than that, you get more freezing rain than sleet. Here in town, we're thinking it's going to be mostly snow with sleet mixed in, and especially northwest burbs. You get out by the airport, up towards O'Fallon, you go up towards Quincy, Springfield, Illinois, all of these areas under winter storm warnings, but it's going to vary on how much you get of what type. As you get more sleet or ice, it cuts down on the snowfall accumulations. In fact, it's been known to bust. You know, you'll say 6 to 8, and then it changes to sleet for a few hours, and you end up with 4 or 5. So it's really tough to just say where it's going to sleet and how long it's going to sleet. But it's primarily going to be tomorrow afternoon where that warm nose comes in after late morning, early afternoon, when we have to worry about the sleet and maybe some ice here in St. Louis, but not enough to cause any serious issues. It's going to be downstate, Cape Girardeau, those areas, across the river. You get into Owensboro, Kentucky, even south and near Evansville, Indiana. Those areas have ice storm warnings, and that's where we could have as much as a half an inch of ice. And when you get a half an inch of ice, you're going to have power outages, especially late tomorrow night and Monday. As that storm really cranks up and moves by, we're going to have a very strong wind from the north, then the northwest, northeast, northwest, and that is going to lead to more issues because you've got all the ice on the limbs. The limbs are getting blown around, and they will tend to crack and take out power lines. So a real concern in those areas for power outages. And the real issue here is how cold it's going to get behind the storm. Remember, a lot of times after a storm, yeah, it gets cold for 1 day or 2 days. But this Arctic outbreak is going to come in and sit here all week, this coming week. And temperatures here in St. Louis will not get above freezing. In fact, morning lows will be down in the single numbers. The suburbs will likely drop below 0 for the first time this year. So whatever falls, whether it's sleet, freezing rain, or the snow, which will be most of what falls from I-70 north, it's going to stick around. And if you have to deal with roads that are not treated and they're shaded, really nothing's going to melt. Now, when we get the sun out here Monday into Tuesday and the rest of the week, that will help melt off some of the snow and ice, especially on treated roadways, because even though the temperatures won't get above freezing, we'll get some insulation from the sun, even though the sun angle right now is at the lowest of the year. What we've seen this morning, Kendall, is a few little snowflakes coming down, a little bit of overrunning. You can't see them on TV. This is not part of the main storm. That'll move in here late tonight. I don't think we're going to have any issues on the roadways, certainly till after sunset by any means, but it's going to be late this evening. Tomorrow morning's a different issue, and I think Monday is going to be a snow day for a lot of districts, all the way from Kansas, all the way east into D.C., Baltimore, even Atlantic City. And many of these kids have been off for 2 weeks, and they may get an extended Christmas vacation, holiday vacation, because of the storm hitting tomorrow into Monday.
Hey, Mike, I have to say, I don't think that many kiddos are bummed about that whatsoever. I think they're probably pretty happy. I know last hour when we talked, we were talking about preparations, though, for this storm. And I have officially just gotten to see the first snow plow of this event. So we're starting to see them come out, and they're taken to the roads. There's also a tow truck right behind me. So folks are getting prepared for this. But the issue that I'm hearing is that we're actually running a deficit in terms of snowplow drivers here in Kansas City. Do you know how the city of St. Louis is faring in regard to staffing?
They're staffed up. They had a meeting yesterday, the DOT for the city, the state, also Ameren, which is the power company around here. They've got crews on standby because of the ice forecast. I do believe, as I mentioned, that the main issue with freezing rain and power outages will not be here in the city of St. Louis, but it's going to be downstate, where we have more warm air. A thicker layer of warm air gets involved, so the snowflakes melt into raindrops and temperatures at the surface at or below freezing, and you get the freezing rain. Now, Remember, downstate, it's going to be right around freezing. Here in St. Louis tomorrow, temperatures are going to be about 24, 25. Right now, it's 26. Wind chill, not bad. By January standards here in mid-America, wind chill right now is a very comfortable 20 degrees. But that is really going to change, Kendall, on Monday, because it's going to be cold, it's going to stay cold, and we're really going to feel the wind tomorrow night into Monday and Monday afternoon. Those winds could gust 30 to 35 miles an hour. So those wind chills, some of these areas will be down below zero. Again, reemphasizing the fact this is not going to be all-time record cold, but the coldest of the season, and it's going to be sticking around. It's not going to be a couple of days of cold air and then it warms back up to average. This is going to stick around all next week before we get maybe some moderation next weekend and the week after.
Yeah, Mike, our high here in Kansas City is just 14 on Monday, and we're going to have sub-zero lows. So it's going to be cold. So, yeah. So, Ari, I have to say that you're in the best situation because you're in a nice warm studio, and also things are a little bit better in the Northeast.
Yeah, this morning, okay, so I was jealous of you guys at first, but now that I see that it's not snowing yet, I think tomorrow I'm going to be on the air and I'll be jealous. I know you're getting in the car in between shots and everything, so you got TJ with you. Life is good when TJ's your field producer. Mike and Kendall, we'll check back in with you guys in just a little bit. But I want to focus on the cold aspect of this.